Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fifth Road Tarot. I'm doing a special reading this morning. Just kind of felt called to do it um, as a um, as a tarot reader, as someone who is connecting with the divine always. I've been I've been learning more about myself and about my connection with the divine this year, and really, this is what Fifth Road, why Fifth Road evolved, is because I wanted to be more in this space, and communicate what I was learning, in not only through tarot, but also in my dreams, things that I was picking up, in my noticing and things like that, things that we can all do. But I was trying to figure out a way, and this is the way that I wanted to share it. So, um, there's a new moon. We're supposed to really, during new moons, you're supposed to stay still, like very still, and not do anything. Only have really intentions of what you want to do. And this new moon is also being um, enhanced because there's also a solar eclipse. There was one, but we still have the energy of it. And I don't know, I was just called um, to move deeply into what this reading was about. So, I'm gonna do a few new things. I have the Wild Unknown Archetype cards. Um, I will link them below so that you can see where to find them. This deck is created by Krans. If you're a fan of tarot, you're probably familiar with her Wild Unknown deck, which I also have but haven't been using on the channel. The archetype cards I like to look at to see, I want to see what the theme of this new moon in Capricorn specifically is about. What themes that it might be bringing us, not only in the next 2 weeks, but for the next 6 months as a collective. Yeah, so let's see. Thank you, Spirit, for being with us here today. Thank you for showing the way, allowing stillness. Thank you for the darkness that you bring in addition to the light, so that we can learn to navigate regardless of what we can see. Thank you. All right, let's get this done. We have the King card. And I like to I like to pull 3 cards, um, because my background is in communications, a little bit of television production, um, and I have some experience with multimedia production. But anyway, I like to look at this, how the story is laid out. So I like to look at beginning, middle, end. Um, when we think about a process for editing or production, we think about the story creation, the story editing, and the final story. So um, I tend to pull 3 for that reason. So we have the King, the Comic, and the Womb. And I'll really quickly read the meaning of those. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. The king is the ruler, the commander, and the emperor. If our lives are imagined as a kingdom containing the entire spectrum of human existence, the king presides over it all. Through the lens of the king, we assess the state of our land, make decisions, and rule accordingly. Therefore, the king must be thoroughly and regularly vetted so as to avoid corruption. Recognize the dual nature of the king. He is either seated in benevolence and strength, guiding you toward peace, or he is oppressing the weak out of a need to control. There is not much middle ground. Some think of the king as the ultimate expression of the ego, yet the great kings of mythology and history serve from an egoless place. They take their throne with grace and humility, knowing the divine uses them as a channel to heal deep and long standing discrepancies in the kingdom. Okay, next we have the comic. Let's find that in the book. There we go. All right. All right. The comic. The comic carries a remedy for all that ails this world. Amid the deepest pain and suffering, there is always the potential to lift up and out of the darkness through laughter. Though dismissed by some as lowbrow or unsophisticated, this archetype actually has a highly advanced mind. Some may use the word genius, as humor requires one to see the situation from afar rather than to be swept away by the drama. The comic sees and accepts the messiness of life, using it as material to be mixed and shaped into a potion to soothe the stressed and serious mind. They literally lighten us up. Thus, within the comic is usually the sage or the magician, working healing magic upon any audience who will lend an ear. The comic may be the archetype that heals the deep division in our world, one pun at a time. And finally, we have the womb. Right, let me look that up really quickly, as quickly as I can. The womb. Everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother. In a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and disparate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. And it's very funny in reading that. This morning I was reading some quotes from um, Sigmund Freud, and it started off, and this is how I think that this reading was calling to me, was the quote was, in retrospect, as you look back, or when you look back, the years that you struggled were probably, and I'm not saying the quote verbatim, were probably the most beautiful. And so I think this card of the womb and how we are led to this rebirthing, starts there. It starts by us being in this moon, this new moon energy, and looking back and seeing what what serves us, what did not serve us in the last few years, where we struggled, and how we can find beauty in that. And the first thing to do is to be like the king. And I think in this way, we would take accountability for our role in whatever we have done, or whatever we have struggled with it with our ego. We take acceptance for those things that we take acceptance for the things that made us feel like we were trying to control, or we were trying to direct, or we were trying to make things happen, when really all we need to do is heal others, hold them without ego, without forcing, we are benevolent and strong. We are peaceful and strong. We do not need to force our hand. We only need to be and be comfortable in that being. And I think what helps us to really shine as this king, this benevolent leader, is to have not only an outward personality of the comic, but we come from a place of we understand that life is heavy. We understand that the things that we go through are sometimes hard to carry, but there's also a humor to it all. And I think that we are able to pull this forward if we continue, if we embrace the comic. And by doing this, we create the womb for ourselves, and we create the womb for others, the room for the womb for others to find themselves healed in as well. So I'll read from the King a little bit of guidance. Well, actually, you know what? I want to find out more about the comic. All right, let's see. The comic. Bear with me. I'm almost there. Here we go. Okay, so the comic. When the comic is in its light, the comic is hilarious, ingenious, spirited, and easygoing. But when it is in its dark, it is sarcastic, harsh, brooding, and drunk. So, joy, jokes, and smiles are signs of a happy heart. Be wary of spiritual practices or teachers who leave the comic by the wayside. The, the comic has plenty of shade to throw on others, and it can fall into shadow at the drop of a hat. Beware of their sharp claws. So yeah, I look at the comic in reading that. The comic is also kind of like the Fool card in tarot, the zero, and that's where the tarot journey starts, is with the Fool. And the Fool is someone who is knowing and willing, but not really knowing what's ahead, has maybe some experience, but this is a card of starting over at times. So we have to be open to things changing, things being different, um, and really just become almost like a student of life when we are in the role of the comic. We are observing and we are saying our truths, but we understand that once we tell a truth that is hurtful or cutting, right? Because I, it, I don't know if you've had experience with that, but I have, where I say a joke that is absolutely, I think is funny and I think is comical, but other people are like, Aisha, that was too much. And I just said my real name, so you know my real name. Um, but yeah, so there's that. And for the womb, actually, you know what? No, I think that's good with that one. And what I want to do now is I have um I have a deck of cards that I wanted to pull. And this is in this I'm using my Fool or my comic energy. I have my own little deck of cards that I made, my own little oracle cards, and I mostly made them because I just wanted to kind of experience um, what it was like to make my own card, what it would be like, and if it would and I had some messages and things like that that I kind of wanted to preserve, like lifelong things that I'd learned along my journey on this earth. And yeah, so let's see what we've got for the comic. What kind of action? Ooh, wow, that came out. All right. So again, not gender specific. This is just my brand of humor, right? This is what we do during the new moon. We clean up. We clean up. So this is my card that says, "Hey, clean your room, bruh." And I say it in a voice of a friend of mine who, you know, uh, he's my bro, and we talk to each other this way. I hope you are not offended as someone who this is just the way I talk with my friends. So, yeah, clean your room. It's new moon. If it helps, just clean your room. But this is part of the comic in me, right? All right. So let's see. What about the womb? Or you know what? No, what about the king? Can we give advice on the king, please? All right. No advice on the king. All right. So I'll put that to the side. And also, I have this really cool deck called the DBT deck for clients and therapists. Um, this, I really like the idea of this deck. It's by Pederson, and it's 101 mindful practices to manage distress, regulate emotions, and build better relationships. And it comes from an experience I had where I needed to find some healing for myself, and I actually am working on that for myself as well, is healing and being a self-healer, which I really think everyone should check out. Okay, so let's see what we pull from the deck here. Ooh, this is a hard one to shuffle. And I probably shouldn't shuffle it, but I still get gems, I still get gems out of it when I do it this way. Ooh. All right, here we go. This says improve. This is the improve message, but it breaks it down into an acronym. So we're looking at the R in the improve. Relaxation is a human need. The R is for relaxation. Relaxation is a human need. What do you need to do to relax, or what do you think could be relaxing? Plan to engage in some of those relaxation behaviors every day, remembering that learning to relax takes practice. Take some time now to be mindful of your breathing, to tense and release the major muscle groups, or to simply sit in a quiet place. Relax. All right, awesome. All right, so I am going to pull one more card. I have yes, I have a lot of decks that I like to play around with. I have the Buddha Wisdom Divine Feminine deck, and this is by Silfan Chan. Um, and I'm going to pull that for the womb card that we have here. Let's see, I'll get these shuffled. Oops. And the relaxation tip, that is actually another, I would say, very new moon type of action, is to sit still and not do. But we definitely want to clean our room, right? Because we want to clear out some of the energy um, from previous months, the previous 2 weeks between the full moon and the new moon. You want to clear your energy and prepare for um, this womb energy that will be coming, right? We want to welcome it in by having a clean space for it to come into. All right, so let's get a Buddha Wisdom card for our womb energy. Something that doesn't really tell us, um, you know, what to do specifically, like what kind of, ooh, that jumped out, but really gives us some advice on how to embrace or find our way into through our king energy, through our comic energy, and into our womb energy. So it says here, you can see, I can't get it to focus. All right, I can't get it to focus, so I'll read it. Absolute reality is beyond name, form, and individuality. It is within you. It is the gateway to your noble self. Absolute reality is beyond name, form, and individuality. It is within you. It is the gateway to your noble self. Awesome. Wow. Absolute reality. Being here in this energy, being in our womb energy. And it's funny because in the description for the womb, this is about the mother beyond the mother, the feminine beyond the feminine. So this is not how, if I were to look at myself and say, I'm a woman with womb, blah, 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 this is beyond me. This is beyond my femininity. This is beyond what we can see in front of us. And it does not have a form, and it does, there's no looking for an individuality. Everything that you need from this womb energy is within you, and it is the gateway. And again, the womb is this dark space. And if we look again, the womb kind of resembles the darkness of the moon that we're in now, right? It is the gateway to your noble self. Your noble self. Be willing to be still. Be willing to be stiller than still, to relax, to prepare, to be easy enough, to be well enough to accept the darkness and the regeneration and the rebirth, the possibility that the womb offers, because it is the gateway to your noble self. Beautiful. That is beautiful. Okay, guys, that's really all I wanted to do this morning, to offer up a reading. Again, we leave off with the king. Relax. The comic. Clean your room, bro. And the womb. It is the gateway to your noble self. It is beyond form, individuality, and name. What you have for renewal is within you. And I think that's what we should look forward to in our stillness and our relaxing And this new moon energy with the solar eclipse and the new moon in Capricorn. And then just let yourself be reborn. Let yourself be rebirthed after this. Don't let life happen to you. Laugh at it. Don't try to control. Be benevolent. Be kind. Going into this new year, yeah, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And I wish you love. I wish you stillness. I wish you the enjoyment of the shadow and the darkness. And in this sense, I mean the darkness that is gifted to us by this new moon, by this gift of rest that we have been given. Please rest. Rest. Okay, relax. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.